Hey you, and welcome. My name is Dan. This whole video I'm going to be answering a question that one of my subscribers had asked here in the past. They asked, hey, which Chromebook do I now recommend in 2022? And if you look back in my history, I do have some videos on similar topics. For example, I've talked about the HP 14A, which is in my hand right here. And I've talked about the Acer 15 as well. Both of those are really good Chromebooks. The Acer was really nice. I'd be buying those from acer.com, or even at acerrecertified.com would be another place. And basically, what is acerrecertified.com? Well, it's a place where you find a Chromebook that is not brand new. So a customer had it, maybe it was shipped out, but the customer really never used it, or it wasn't even taken out of the box, shipped back to the warehouse. It was checked, made sure everything does work on it, and then sold at a good discount, sometimes half the price. And so I was able to buy my whole family Acer Chromebooks during that time. There was an issue with those Chromebooks though. After about 3 years, I know I used them a lot, using them every day, what would happen is the USB-C port that you see right here, what would happen is the inside connections would loosen up and the solder joints or points would actually break from the main board. And that's not good, right? And that was basically because you're plugging in and unplugging it every day. That's going to happen. Thing is, that would happen, and also the hinges would break on those Acers. So the hinge would break, and then the AC power would break on the USB-C ports. So you couldn't charge them unless you fixed those problems, and that required me opening them up, soldering those points, and also fixing the hinges on those. Well, that happened to all of the Acer Chromebooks that we had in the family. My wife's, my son's, my own. It all happened. So it was a really common occurrence about 2.5 to 3.5 years into the ownership of the product. And so I didn't make any videos on it because it was after the 1 or 2 years out, right? But I'm letting you know now that, hey, I don't buy the Acer Chromebooks anymore because of those reasons, especially because of the hinge breaking. Basically what would happen is the hinge would break, and when you would try to close it, that hinge, this part right here, would actually pop out. And that is not a good situation because it could actually lead to other damage to the connections. Inside here is the main board, and there's a cable, a video cable with a little small cable there that leads from the motherboard to the back of the monitor. So you have, if you open it up, you know, this is the monitor on the top here, right? Well, that would loosen up and then come loose when the hinge broke. So it was like one problem after another with the Acer Chromebooks. And again, that's about 3 to 3.5 years out of ownership and using it every day. So I don't have those, and I replaced them with this right here. This is the HP 14A Chromebook. Now the ones that I bought here for myself and my family to replace the Acers all had the Intel processors, 32 gigs of internal memory or 64 gigs of internal memory, and they all had 4 gigs of RAM, or there could have even been more, 8 gigs of RAM. But I know the minimum that I requested was 4 gigs. Just to let you know, HP is not paying me to make a video about their Chromebooks, so no one's paying me. This is just a free thing that I'm giving out to you guys to recommend because of your question. It was a valid question. Hey, what kind of Chromebooks do I use today? And I'm using this one here, the HP 14A. I did make a video about it, and we will be seeing that one together here in a few minutes. Just to let you know that please click on that thumbs up, share the video, comment down below if you have a video idea or a question make sure you do post it down there, and I'll try to get to those as soon as I can. I have been rather busy with a number of different things here as of late. Anyway, getting back to this one, why do I recommend this little Chromebook? Well, one reason it is light, that you're going to see in the video that's coming up here in a moment. It is lightweight, a little bit easier to be moving around or be more portable versus the 15.4 inch screen. And the 14 inch screen on this one is still very easy to see. I work with it every day. I love it. And it's a touchscreen too. Very, very good about that. Some downside is the audio quality. And so if you're really into making your Chromebooks do loud music, then this one disappoints if that's what you were looking for. The Acer does have better sound quality, has speakers that are louder speakers that are facing up. This HP Chromebook does have speakers here on around the keyboard, so it does have good sound, but it's not just simply not the best sound compared to Acer and some of the more expensive brands. This one here, you can find it at some places for less than $150 today at Amazon. So it is a good deal if you're looking for something that's really cost efficient. All right, other good points or the touchscreen. I use it to actually make my videos. So all the latest videos that you've seen the last 6 months, guess what? They've been on this very machine right here. I play games on it. I answer all of your questions using this Chromebook. So it's basically with me wherever I go all day long. And so the battery life, boom, the battery life is very, very long. In the video that we're going to see, I'm going to talk a little bit about the battery life after using it for this year. So now I've had it for a year. Guess what? It's still working all day long. I plug it in at night, and then I unplug it in the morning, and then I work with answering some of your comments. That's the first thing I do. I get other ideas for other videos from you, by the way, and so I'll work on those. I'll work on creating my scripts on this. I can use Microsoft Word on my Chromebook, and then I use that by going to www.live.com, and I log into my Microsoft account, and there's all my work. There's Microsoft Word and Excel. If I want to do it that way, I could do it that way. The other way is through Google Drive, which is a built-in app, and it does work offline through the Google Drive. And what you think, how can that happen? Well, in the settings, you just go to settings and say enable on offline support, and then it downloads the data here to your Chromebook, which is kind of nice. I use Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides to do all of my other work. In fact, that's what I use most often, more than the Microsoft Office. All right, all the video and image processing, a lot of times I use this particular Chromebook to do that work. So the Intel processor, that is a good processor to go with. You'll notice if you go online, you'll see some that have the AMD processor or others. And I simply recommend making sure that you do go with the Intel processor and the touchscreen. The other thing that's kind of nice about this one here is, if you can see it in the video, the keys back there, they have a backlit in the keyboard there, so they light up very well there if you're going to be working at night or in dim situations, a dim office. Having the backlit keyboard is really, really nice. What I'm going to do now is share the video of comparing this Chromebook with the Acer 15 and showing, some of the pros and cons. If you're on the fence of which kind of Chromebook that you're going to go with, again, I would, this is the one that I would recommend today. All right, so let's enjoy this video together.
Hey you, and welcome. I'm Mr. Barry. In this whole video, I'm going to be looking at the HP 14A Chromebook, and I'm going to be comparing that to one of the Chromebooks that I've used a great deal in the past and I've made many videos about. That is the Acer CB515. Now the Acer CB515 is a 15.4 inch Chromebook, and this HP 14A is a 14-inch Chromebook. So there's a difference there in weight. It's a little bit easier to haul around into different locations, and even if you're just using it at the house, I have noticed that it's nice having that lighter machine with you. So we're going to be looking at specifications, where I found it, and whether I even recommend it or not. So before we get into all those details, I would like to remind everyone to please click on thumbs up on the video, comment down below, and share the video. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. So let's take a look at this HP Chromebook, you and I. Come on. Hey, and here is the HP 14A Chromebook. Now the very first thing that you see right off the bat is it has a backlit keyboard. Now I was reading other reviews on this Chromebook, and some of them had failed to mention that it has a backlit keyboard. And for me, that is essential because I do a lot of my work at night under low lighting, and so having that keyboard that lights up like that is really a big plus for me. So that's one of the main features that I actually look for in any Chromebook. You can adjust the brightness very easily. All you have to do is use the Alt key and then bright or Alt dim, and that will alter or change the brightness of that keyboard. The other thing that you notice right away next to the keyboard are the speakers. Now those are the B&O speakers. They are upward facing, and that really improves the audio quality. I do have other Chromebooks and the speakers are facing down, and right away you notice the big difference, especially if you're going to be watching a movie. Maybe you're watching the movie or doing something on the internet and you want to have your computer or your laptop there in bed with you, and if you have speakers that are facing down, they get muffled up by the covers or the blankets. And so having speakers that actually face up or towards you is absolutely essential there if you want to do some movie watching there at night at bed or in your bed. And the next thing that you notice, it has a 14-inch touchscreen, and that means that you can really get in and play a lot of the Android apps. So it does come with the Android Play Store, and you can install Android apps and play around with those. So those are really good features to look for in any Chromebook. One is that backlit keyboard. Next is the speakers are facing up or towards you, and then a touchscreen. So all those are really good points. Another feature that maybe you weren't noticed right away is it does have an aluminum case, and so it feels more solid if you're taking it around or carrying it. Having that aluminum case around it is really a big plus. So I believe that is actually one of the good features of this HP 14A Chromebook. Of course, you know the operating system is the Chrome OS, and it is as easy to work with. I am able to create videos like this video on a Chromebook. I'm able to edit Microsoft Word documents and do all that. If you're interested in doing those types of things, I do have other videos that actually show you how to install Microsoft Office, or simply how to edit and create Microsoft Word documents or other types of documents there using the Google Drive or Google Docs or Google Sheets there and all those other apps. So this does come with the Play Store as well as the Chrome Web Store, and you can find basically all of your editing software there. Alright, so now let's get into the specifications. So let's look at the ports now, and we're going to be looking at the right hand side. Right there, the very first one there is a USB Type-C 3.2 Generation 1 there, and that's for power delivery, but it's also for fast transfers of data. And right next to that is a USB Type-A 3.2 Generation 1 there. On the left hand side, the very first port there, that round port, is a 3.5mm audio jack, and that is a combination jack there, both microphone and speaker. Next to that is a USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 1, and that also does power delivery. And next to that is the micro SD card reader, and that's really handy if you want to upgrade the memory or the storage, I should say, in this Chromebook. You can go in and actually buy like a 256 gigabyte or even 512 gigabyte or even larger, and then install a micro SD card there into the reader, and you can save your files and documents or even applications there in that storage there. Alright, the very first thing I want to mention is that these do come with Intel processors, but we'll get into more detail there when we're comparing the two Chromebooks. For the display, we already talked about it as being a touchscreen. The weird thing about it is the resolution. It's a 1518 by 853 resolution. The full HD 1920 by 1080 is available as well. Just make sure that you are looking at the specifications before you actually click on buy to see which one that you're getting with that particular model. For internal storage, mine came with 128 gigs of storage there. You do have a 64 gig as an option as well. For memory, mine came with 4 gigs, but there are others that come with 8 gigs of memory. Of course, we know that it has the Chrome operating system, and then the battery, it's a 47 watt hour. What does that mean? Well, that gives you about 11 and a half hours worth of playing there. So if you're watching YouTube videos or doing other things with your computer, I've been experiencing about 11 and a half hours worth of life there per charge. For dimensions, it's just shy of 13 inches and a little bit less than 9 inches by 0.7 inches. And I do have the millimeter numbers listed as well in case that's what you're used to reading. For the weight, 3.2 pounds or 1.46 kilograms. And you say, well, what does that mean there? Well, actually, I've been using it for a month and it is very lightweight, easy to move from room to room in the house, or if you want to take it to school or work, it's very easy to move around. For the ports, we've already talked about the ports on the left and the right hand side. There are no ports in the front or in the back to speak of, just on the left and right. For the Wi-Fi, it is a 802.11 AC, and that's pretty much standard for the wireless connection there. For Bluetooth, it is the 5.0, and that's great for connecting to your headset or to other things there, such as speakers. And next we have the audio jack, which we've already talked about it being the combo 3.5 millimeter. And now on the other features that we have here, one of the ones that is kind of one that we don't see too often is the fingerprint reader. And you notice it's green and red, meaning it is an option. Some of these do have the fingerprint reader. If that's what you really need, that is an option to have. For mine, I did not go with that, so it doesn't have that. The very next thing that we have is the web camera, and it is an HD or high definition camera. I've been using it for doing some of my work there, and it does actually work very well. The keyboard, we've already mentioned, it is a backlit keyboard, and that is a big plus. For the microphone, it actually has a dual array digital microphones, so it does pick up your voice very easily there. For speakers, it's 2 speakers, one on either side of the keyboard, and they are forward or upward facing speakers, which is really great. And they are the B&O is their brand there. And Chromebooks do not come with optical drives. I do have other videos that talk about how to actually plug in an optical drive if that's something that you really need to have. And the very last feature that I have mentioned is the security lock slot. Let me describe that for a second. You may ask, well, what is that? Well, if you're a college student and you need to leave your computer for any length of time, well, the security lock slot is great to have. Basically, it's a little slot off onto the side of your Chromebook or laptop and allows you to actually lock it in place. So if you're at a table or at a desk, it allows you to lock it to that location so someone can't just grab it and then run away with it. So if you're in some type of a situation where, such as a college student, a security lock slot is kind of a nice option to have. It is both green and red, meaning it's an option that you can go with or kind of leave out. For my particular unit that I did buy, it didn't have it, and that's because I don't really need it. I'm always with my Chromebook. And the next thing that we have there is the price and location. I found this one at Amazon, and I'll have a link to the site of where I found it down in the description. Now the price was just shy of $220, as you see it there, $217.99. Received it in just a few days, and I was really happy. Really nice product packaging, and it also came with this brand new charger from HP that you can actually see here. So it came with a nice charger. Now, one of the things that I noticed in the description, it says it's renewed there at the end. And normally what a renewed product is something that's been shipped out to a store or to a customer, and you'd have items that are, overstocked, and the store or the customer sends it back. And it's supposed to be in a new condition. It's not supposed to be all dented up or anything like that. And one thing that I was really pleased about was right when I opened up the Chromebook and logged into my Google account for the very first time, Google told me that, oh, this is a new product, and I get all the benefits of having a brand new Chromebook there, which is like 100 gigs of extra storage space on Google Drive. You get some other benefits there for having a brand new product. So I was really happy with that. But I kind of question, why does it say renewed when Google says it's a new product? So it's possible that this seller has both brand new products as well as renewed products, and they're shipping out both types. If you do read the details, it does say that expect this to be a like new product. So no dents, no scratches, no missing keys or anything like that to be seen in there. So that's kind of nice to know there. And again, that's less than $220. I think that's a very good price. Okay, here we go. Now we're into this segment where we're comparing the Acer CB515 versus the HP 14A. First thing that you will notice right away is the display size. Of course, the Acer is a 15.4 inch display size. And even though the numbers are close, 14 versus 15.4, when you're actually looking at them side by side, it's kind of a big difference there. I think for me personally, it's not that big of a deal because everything is, I'm working with it in front of me at the desk or at the chair where I'm just sitting it right there, and it's not that big of a deal to have a smaller screen of 14 inches. But when you're looking at it, it does look quite a bit smaller than the 15.4. The other thing that you'll notice right away too is that the Acer display has higher contrast values, so the blacks look darker versus the HP. But again, that's really a minor thing. I've been using the HP for a month now, watching movies, and it's not something that really just jumps out at you. It only jumps out at you if you set them side by side like I have in this display, and then you can kind of pick up on it that the display within the Acer is a little bit higher quality than on the HP. The next thing we'll look at is the audio, the sound. And so I have my headset here, and I've recorded the sounds for both the HP and also the Acer. And I'm going to listen to them here, and I'm going to be playing these audio clips. So the very first audio clip is from Twilight Zone, the radio show there. And let's listen to this clip.
My name is Talkie Tina.
Hey, nobody pulled your string.
And I'm beginning to hate you.
Yeah? Well, my name's Eric Streeter.
Okay, that's from the HP. Now let's listen to it from the Acer.
My name is Talkie Tina.
Hey, nobody pulled your string.
And I'm beginning to hate you.
Yeah? Well, my name's Eric Streeter.
Okay, and right away I'm picking up that there is some distortion from the HP. Now the way I recorded these is I put a microphone right above the keyboard. It's kind of centered, so it really pick up the sound. And so if there's any type of distortion from the speakers, any type of noise, it will pick that up. And sure enough, the HP there is of a lower quality, it sounds like. The volume is also a little bit less. Now, let's say that you want to use your Chromebook for listening to some music. So I got a song here, just a few seconds of it. Let's compare it. And very first up is the HP 14A. Let's listen to this. All right, now let's listen to it as it comes out of the Acer CB515. Okay, right away, you can tell that the Acer is louder. So the volume is louder. And also, I'm looking at the audio file in front of me. The range of depth from the sound from the HP is simply not as great as it is in the Acer. So the Acer, that wins in this competition fairly easily. So the HP has a little bit, I would say maybe it's down to an 8 there as far as the display versus the Acer's display as being 10. And then for the audio system, I would say that the HP 14A has about like a 7.5, not even 8 there, versus a 9.5 or 10 for the Acer. So the Acer really won the competition here as far as the visual and the sound, the audio. One thing to maybe look up on too is the difference in price. The Acer is about $100 or $150 more from everything that I saw there when I was looking for an Acer CB515. So I think you're getting what you're paying for. So the HP is cheaper. Maybe it's not the absolute best sound that you can find. It is better than most because I did compare it with other speakers where they were downward facing speakers, and the HP did do better than those. But that Acer CB515 with the speakers and facing up and larger speakers too, they are larger with more space obviously, that one wins. Alright, the next thing that we're going to look at is the processor, the CPU. They are both coming with the Intel processors, but the Acer has the 4200 and the HP has the 4020. You say, well, what's the difference there? They're at the same speed. Basically, they're neck and neck as far as performance. And the Acer wins just by a hair. So it's just a little bit faster than the HP. Again, you're getting what you pay for. It's $100 and some less, so I would expect that. But the performance for both of those is very, very close. I did play games, do other things on the Chromebook, and it was perfect. I mean, I didn't see any lag or problems with playing different games on either one. So basically, they're neck and neck on that. Their memory, we talked about that already. On the specifications and features, it's 4 gigs on both of these. Some of these do come with 8 gigs, so if you really needed more memory, it is available for you. The thing is, once you buy the product, you can't upgrade the memory later, so it's all soldered onto the motherboard. That's something to be aware of, that you cannot upgrade the memory after you've already bought the particular Chromebook. Next that we have there is storage. Now, the Acer only came with 32 gigs. I had to look it up and make sure that that's all it had, and it's true. It only came with 32 gigs of storage, whereas the HP, the one that I actually have, is 128 gigs. That's a big plus. And so the HP actually wins in that department. And you say, well, what can you do with 128 gigs? Well, you can download movies,
so you can watch them offline or when you're traveling, doing things like that. You can download audio or other things with it. So having 128 gigs is actually quite useful in a Chromebook. For weight, the HP actually wins at 3.2 pounds, whereas the Acer is at 3.8 pounds. You go, well, there's not very much difference in the weight there. But when I was carrying them around the house, I actually did feel the difference there. The HP was easier to carry and lighter, and I could just throw it in my backpack, go to work, go other places, bring it out. So having the 14-inch Chromebook there was actually kind of handy. So the HP wins in that category. For battery life, both of these are really neck and neck as far as battery life. The Acer is right around 10.5 to 11 hours as far as when I've been testing it. And I've been testing the Acer for over a year now, and I've had many of those different ones, and they always are pretty consistent, 10.5 to 11 hours for what I've been seeing for the work that I do. For the HP, it's coming out right at about 11 to 11.5 hours. And then again, that's playing YouTube videos, going and doing all my work, even creating videos like this. It was very consistent, about 11 to 11.5 hours for the HP. Now the next one is a biggie, and this is the auto update expiration date. So basically, when does your product stop receiving updates from Google? And you notice there's the dates that I have for you there. And it, depending on what model you have for the Acer, that varies from 2024 to 2029. And that depends on which model or version you have of the Acer CB515. For the HP, that date varies from the middle of 2026 to 2029, and that gives you some good leeway there as far as receiving updates. Now, a lot of people have asked me, they say, well, Mr. Berry, what happens the day after it stops receiving updates? Is it junk? Is it just something to be thrown away? And the answer is no, it's not. Actually, Google or Chrome, they put out these dates for you because it's expected by that time all of the hardware, the drivers, and everything else should be, they should have all the different updates by that time. There are security updates that come out periodically, and that's just something to be aware of. I do have Chromebooks, and I have students who have Chromebooks that are past the AUE date, and they still work great. There's no problems with the items at all with the Chromebooks. So having an item or a Chromebook that is past that AUE date, it doesn't mean that it just becomes junk overnight. So I still think it's a good item there, or a good device. It is something to be aware of, though, that as we approach those dates, that you probably will be thinking of buying a new Chromebook by that time. And it's more than just it's more than just updates for the security and stuff like that. The newer Chromebooks by that time, like 2029 especially, they'll have new features and new things as far as the hardware compatibility and what it can actually do for us. So by that time, let's say 2029, I would expect the Chromebooks to be having faster processors, more memory, more storage, and be able to do much more with the Android apps or other types of apps that you'd have. Hey, and this last segment that I have here is, do I recommend the HP 14A? And, well, guess what? I do recommend it, and the reason why I recommend it is because it does have a backlit keyboard. It has upward-facing speakers. The touchscreen is very responsive, and it has a very good price, being less than $250. Now, I've been using it for a month, and it has not had any issues at all with it. It's been doing great. The battery life on it has been awesome there at over 11 hours, 11 and a half on there. And I've just been very, very happy with it. So yes, I do recommend this HP 14A Chromebook. Now, you notice when I was comparing it with the Acer, it fell short on the display quality as well as the audio quality there. But it actually is better than most of the Chromebooks that I've looked at in the last few years. And I think basically you'll be happy with it. If you wanted to watch movies with it, do work. It's very, very easy to do your work with it. So what kind of work do I do? Well, I edit and I create books, and I do a lot of writing. So I use it to work with Microsoft Word documents, but it also has Google Docs and Google Sheets, Google Slides, so that I'm able to go in and actually create a document from scratch. And that's actually what I use for writing the books. It does work offline. If you were to use any Chromebook offline, you simply go to the Google Drive app, go to the settings, go down to where you have the setting called offline, turn that on, and what happens is that you can now use that Chromebook offline. So it basically saves the files locally, so you don't have to be always, online if you are needing to edit a document or do some type of work there while you're offline. Other things I do with it is I listen to music, watch movies and stuff like that with it, and it has basically been a very good Chromebook for doing all my work. I do create videos like the one that you're seeing here on Chromebooks, and I haven't had any issues. All the apps that I use will be found in the Google Web Store as well as the Play Store, and both of those come with this Chromebook. You don't have to try to install anything. It's naturally there. When you go down and click on the launcher, you'll find them there. So all in all, I'm very, very happy with this Chromebook. Good price, good product there. And hey, if you like these types of videos, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below because I love to read your comments. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. And I would like to say a special word there to all my subscribers. Hey, thank you very much for subscribing and sharing my videos on your social media sites there. I've been getting a lot of good positive feedback from new subscribers, and I'm just really been blessed by that. So I do want to say, hey, I love you all out there, and a big thank you for everyone who's been helping to share this channel, because I really appreciate that. It's been wonderful. All right, hey, thank you again, and bye bye.